Do we want to take a whole systems approach to understanding the body, or do we want to take a reductionist approach? Reductionist is the example I gave. You look, the king invites the six blind men to touch the elephant. They're blind, and each one is touching different parts of the elephant. The guy who touches a tusk thinks it's a spear. The guy who touches a tail thinks it's a brush, and so on. That's a blinded view of reality. That's what I call reductionism, where you're looking at the parts. A systems approach is you look at a whole. So if you look at their solution, even in the area of quote unquote vaccination, right? What is their solution? To give you this needle with a attenuated virus with other substances in this. And we should talk about this. What they are proposing is that the only way to help your immune system, the only way to support your immune system, is wait for this vaccine. Wait for this vaccine. And what is a vaccine? A vaccine is they're trying to mimic nature. Remember, in the old days, if I had measles or chickenpox, friends would come over and we would all get it together. You boosted your immune system. They actually got the virus in the full-blown aspect. Now, when you're young, your immune systems are developing, you're strong, etc., right? So you're not immunocompromised. Their vaccine model is we're going to create a deadened version of that virus. We're going to mimic nature, and we're going to inject it into you. Well, that wasn't working. What was called the attenuated virus. Well, it wasn't working because you're trying to mimic Mother Nature. So then they added aluminum and mercury and other types of adjuvants. And the realities, as the indications in the lawsuit show, that was actually causing greater harm. So, but the point here is the reductionist approach of Big Pharma is just to give you a vaccine. Well, what I want to share with you, this looks like a disgusting diagram, but for thousands of years before Big Pharma exists, it's not like people in other countries, in the old countries, didn't know this. They knew that if you had a strong immune system, and let's say we were a community and we had to work, we were a farming community, right? That exposing people to that got everyone, you exposed it sooner than later. For example, when I was growing up in India, if a horse or a cow got something, they would put a bag over that horse's head. The horse would sneeze and they would give that bag to all the other horses or cows, for example, because some viruses transfer also to animals. Now, why did they do that? Well, if you have a whole community, you can't shut down the whole community. You don't shut down the whole community. What you do is you share that full virus with everyone. And remember, the animals were strong then, so they could take it and rejuvenate themselves with the right set of antibodies and the right microbiome changes. You see what I'm saying? The difference here is at that point, and the assumption here is that you don't have a bunch of immunocompromised beings or creatures, that they can take the stress inoculation and get stronger. And that's what this diagram is. In places like China and India, they would take the entire pus. Let's say someone had a disease and they would shoot it right up the nose. This is essentially you're sending, let me show you here, you're sending the entire organisms in full right into the person's innate immune systems. It's quite disgusting looking, but point is people knew about this. And here, we also want to understand in places like Africa and parts of India, people would make a slight abrasion, again, to innervate the innate immune system, and they would give that person the virus, okay? So people knew this understanding. This was called variolation, as you can see, okay? It's inoculation, smallpox variolation. In fact, an African slave is the one who brought this to the United States, and this was what was used by George Washington to quote-unquote inoculate. It's not vaccinate his troops. It was full exposure. This is really important to understand, and because of that full exposure by the African slave who brought its teaching, the army of Washington, many, many lives were slaved. So what am I trying to say here? That the model here, in closing, is that our bodies are meant to be stressed. What we have is a preponderance of people in the United States who are immunocompromised. That's what's really going on, okay? I need to perhaps get a little bit impassioned about this, but the real issue is that Fauci, the CDC, and Big Pharma, the Gates Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative, and Zuckerberg, and all of these guys who are part of the deep state have created an environment, and they don't care about this, unhealthy people. They want sickness. They do not want healthy people. So they've created a whole set of people who are immunocompromised. We have massively high obesity rates. We have the highest, infant mortality rates in the Western world in the United States. We have the lowest longevity rates. On and on and on. We have 1.9 million people per year who get hospitalized from prescription drugs. We get nearly close to 200,000 people who die from prescription drugs. We have nearly 440,000 people who die from medical errors because they went into a hospital. Combine those two numbers together, that's a number one cause of death, even before cancer, even before heart disease. That's what we have in the United States. And that discussion, that discourse is not taking place. And I'm here to bring that up because if we truly want health, immune health, and we want to protect the operating system of our body, which is the immune system, we have to give it the right inputs, and we have to make sure these lawyer lobbyists and people who run this world do not destroy our environment. Because what is going on right now, mark my words, will go down in history as one of the biggest fear-mongering, hysteric events that's ever taken place. And Big Pharma, Fauci, the CDC, and the WHO, as will be shown shortly, is they colluded to create this hysteria for the purpose of Big Pharma's intentions, to one-size-fits-all medicine mandates. And we also have to remember, throughout the world, there have been massive protests. France, go look at it. Hong Kong, Venezuela, all over the world. This crisis is a way that's crushed those movements. And the other piece is, it's an amazing way for the big bankers and the big elitists now to do the biggest transfer of wealth. $6 trillion is getting printed, and most of those is going to go to the guys on Wall Street who prop up the stock market. It's not going to come to you or me, very little. If any little comes, it's going to be cosmetic to make us feel good. And China is going to take a lot of that and at one point depress the economy more and use those dollars in reserve they have to buy us. But the bottom line is the immune system is the operating system of our body. And it's about time we took health into our own hands. It's about time that you put in people like you, like me, people who actually care, who work with our hands, who use our mind, who care, that they didn't come from, the clan of the Kennedys or the clan of the Clintons or the clan of people with wealth, with inheritance, that they're the only select few who can participate in governance. It's time that you had one of you, and that's also why, in addition to being a scientist and inventor, that I'm running for United States Senate. And by the way, we need to get, 10,000 certified signatures. You can go see the video that I did below on how you can help for that. You can go to the website. Let me just make sure everyone, I think most of you have been there. If you go to Shiva for Senate, you can, shivaforsenate.com. You can go, and if you donate 25 or more, I actually educate you and continue to educate you. In the interest of time, I think we have about, my battery on Instagram is 5 minutes. Jen, if you can text me any other questions, I'll take a couple of questions. But the bottom line is that we need to take care of our operating system, and it's about time that we started addressing that. We started addressing what the entire basis here is of health is our immune system. It's not just about getting involved in this. I know that the president is trying to get chloroquine and antibiotics. That at least is a better solution than what Fauci's trying to do. But the real solution is taking care of our body. I read the flu vaccine makes this virus more dangerous. I'm curious of the percentage of people with complications. Look, go read the actual papers on the flu vaccine. I've never taken it, but the actual percentage shows it's very, very ineffective. And remember, when you take these vaccines, they have lots of adjuvants in it, and they create an inflammatory response, which is not the kind of inflammatory response your body's used to. If we really want to help ourselves, let's start with the 80-20 rule, Go back to the important things. Vitamin D, sun, vitamin A, the foods. If you can't get it, get the supplements, D3 and vitamin A palmitate. And look at vitamin C, the citrus fruits. If you can't get it, take a supplement. And the iodine. You also may want to start checking if your gut is working properly. But the tool that I created will actually help you understand how the body is a system. Any other questions? Let me see what we got on Instagram. People over here. Do you think there's a link between... sorry, I missed that. We need to open people's eyes. That's definitely true, Angela. All of them are... Doctor, thank you for your fearless energy. All of them are gross. Doctor gave me the list of things to do. Thank you for all you do. You're most welcome. Let me see what's coming in on over here on YouTube. Shiva, for Senate, donate a little to get the number of supporters up. You don't have to be there from a state. Yes, by the way, you don't have to be from my state to donate. Anyone can donate. And I think the other important point is, if you guys know people in Massachusetts, call them up. We've set up a page. There's a video there. If you go to volunteers, help them get signatures for us. We need 10,000 signatures. Our people are going out, and the police are being sent out to stop us from getting signatures. And this is what the GOP establishment and the Democratic establishment want to do. They don't want me to get on the ballot. Okay? They're so afraid. You know, Michelle is just coming in. Michelle's been out there for 8 hours collecting signatures. And she has a full-time, she took time off from work to go do this. So we need people helping us get signatures on the ground. If you're listening, we need people donating to us. And if you donate, either your time or if you give some money, I actually want to educate you. So again, this is about our health. And it's at a point in human history that what you see right now, the president is surrounded by people from the CDC, the FDA, Pharma Fauci, who's a little emperor. And it's time that we destroy Big Pharma. Big Pharma needs to be destroyed. I hate to use those very harsh terms, but they do not serve us. What they do serve is themselves, and them and the bankers are now working together against the people throughout the world. Yep, I'm a red-blooded Texan. We'll fight for right. That's from Periscope. What we got here? Should you get vitamin minerals levels tested before taking them? Look, that's a great question. If you have access to your healthcare practitioner, go get your test done. But the dosages that are in there, again, you should go research it. For example, the pediatric dose, this is during acute circumstances, 400,000 IUs of vitamin A and 50,000 of D have been given as pediatric doses. Okay, particularly the vitamin A, you can go look at it. You don't do it forever, but a short time, and these really boost those cathelicidins in your body. A lot of literature on this. This is not fake science. This is actually real science. What Fauci is doing is fake science. Satanists are trying to order of our country to end us as a country. Big Pharma is witchcraft. That's pretty much a beautiful statement. Who said that? Weed Warrior. Big Pharma is fundamentally the modern boogeyman, okay? And the way they work is they want to scare the bejesus out of us. And what better thing than this virus, by the way, which is every day supposed to affect a lot of people, and we don't see the numbers, but more importantly, how are those numbers being tracked? I will be doing a video shortly, probably tomorrow, called Cooking the Books. I'm getting some amazing inside information, how the WHO, the CDC, and hospital administrators are actually cooking the books. No one really knows what the numerator is. No one really knows what the denominator is. So they're actually cooking the books here. Chadcast, Katrina Simmons, look at the video he put up before this for signature info. Thank you, Alan. Great. Anything else, Jen? Anyway, in closing again, here's another question we got. Keep people medicated. It's not about healing. It's about sick people. Exactly. Pharma Fauci. Pharma Fauci. Pharma Fauci. By the way, we attacked Fauci so hard, he ran scampering to the New York Times to try to say the only thing they could attempt to say was an ad hominem, that I didn't invent email. And we'll talk about who invented email. It wasn't done by the military-industrial complex. But these two women who wrote it were quote-unquote minorities who the New York Times used to do a hit piece. But the bottom line is that Pharma Fauci is running scared. He's never had a guy like me fighting for you, exposing him. None of the academics in academia will say anything against Pharma Fauci. Why? Because they all owe their career to him. They all owe their career to him. They're all part of the pharmaceutical empire. And what we need to do as a people globally, here nationally, in your local towns, we, the people, need to start taking care of our immune health. That's what we need to do. And I'm telling you, people talk about disarming people. You know, there are a lot of people concerned about the Second Amendment, like I am. Well, you disarm the human biology by not even talking about vitamin D and keeping people out of the sun, okay? I'm telling you, the vitamin D is literally like a gun. And through a series of reactions in your body, vitamin D is transformed into cathelicidins, which are like bullets. And those bullets start poking holes in bacteria, viruses. So you can go read it yourself, but you're talking to someone who has a PhD in biological engineering, studies this every day. I'm a systems guy. That's not what Bill Gates is. That's not what Mark Zuckerberg is. That's not what Hillary Clinton is. And that's surely not what Pharma Fauci is. So because the mainstream media is supporting Pharma Fauci, is supporting the entire medical, pharmaceutical, industrial complex, it's time that we started sharing the knowledge. It's about time we started realizing that the body is a system. And there are important foundations of that system that your body needs. And it's so reprehensible, so disgusting for our frontline medical workers, if they truly cared about them, the nurses, the doctors, the EMTs, that they're not even talking about vitamin D and vitamin A. It's horribly criminal. And that's what they're doing, because they want people to die. They want to boost up those numbers because they want to scare the shit out of everyone here, excuse my language, to manipulate all of us to pay homage to Big Pharma. We need to destroy Big Pharma because they are directly connected to big banks. And what you see here is Big Pharma is putting out the fear. The big bankers are coming on the behind and crashing the economy. They're doing the biggest wealth transfer. It's not 2 trillion. It's actually 6 trillion that the Fed is going to, through quantitative easing, give right to their banking buddies. Some of it will trickle down to us, but most of it's going to go prop up a market which itself was failing. And that's what Obama did. He supported his big bankers. We never allowed the big guys to fail. And so therefore, we are taking the brunt of it right now. Could be the more systems are allowed to work properly, the more synchronous we are. That's true. We need to get our health back and to get our life back. Jyoti, you nailed it, okay? My dear mother, who is an amazing woman, she said, you can make all this money, but health is wealth. It's true. I mean, many people have said it. If we don't have health, what does it matter all the money we have in the stock market or how much gold we have? Health is the key to wealth. Health is what happiness is. They don't want our happiness. They want our bondage to them. And what's occurring right now in this country, in my view, I feel a coup is going on. We're witnessing a war right now. We're witnessing a war between those people who are ignorant and into that fear and want to follow the darkness, and those people who are awakening up and want to be in the light. And by the way, vitamin D is liquid light, okay? Who want to be the light and who want to get awakened to the concept of who the real enemy is. It's Big Pharma. And go look at the board of the Gates Foundation. Go look at the board of the Chan Zuckerberg or their BioHub Foundation. Go look at the boards of the Clinton Global Initiative, and you'll see the incestuous pile of garbage that is running the world right now, who's directly connected to deep state. And many of them have deep connections and love for the Chinese Communist Party and those people, because they're part of the deep state. And ultimately what you will see is that the US economy will take a hit, one of the biggest democracies, and the Indian economy will be taking a hit. And you know who will come out strong out of this, stronger, quote unquote, will be the Chinese economy. So connect the dots. And it's time we wake up and we become strong. We as people who care for our families and our health and our future realize that it is the immune system which is our operating system. Let's support it. Let's let the body get strong. And when we're strong, we can fight for freedom. And with freedom, we get truth. And with truth, we get health. With health, we get free. We can fight for freedom and so on. Truth, freedom, and health, everyone. God bless you. And I wish all of you much love and light. And let's get out there and fight, because this is a war, whether you know it or not. And it's a war about truth versus lies. It's about light versus darkness. Thank you, everyone. Be well. I'm going to shut off Instagram here. Thank you. Be well, everyone. And I'll say goodbye to everyone here on YouTube. I'm going to stop here. Goodbye, Facebook. Goodbye, people on Periscope.